nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Welcome to one of the juiciest topics in Hollywood, feuds. Because let's face it, what would Hollywood be without a little drama? Whether it's about who gets the best role, the bigger paycheck, or who gets to steal the spotlight at the Oscars, Hollywood stars have been at each other's throats for decades, and we love to watch it. So, let's take a look at the 9 most iconic Hollywood feuds, counting down from the biggest, most legendary to, well, let's just say the less glamorous ones. Let's start with the granddaddy of all feuds, Bette Davis versus Joan Crawford. When 2 of the most iconic actresses in Hollywood history clash, you know it's going to be a fiery mess. Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were not only contemporaries, they were rivals, and their feud went beyond acting. The tension hit its peak when they co-starred in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane in 1962. Off-screen, it was a battle of wills, and on-screen, it was just as brutal. They fought over everything from screen time to who got the better lines, and the media was all too happy to fuel the fire. The drama peaked on Oscar night when Crawford, in an act of pure divaness, tried to upstage Davis's nomination by sending her a congratulatory telegram, right before Davis lost the award. Ouch. And don't even get me started on that one time Davis was nominated for an Oscar, and Crawford, of all people, managed to swoop in and sabotage her. Talk about a catfight. Hollywood never saw a rivalry quite like it. Until, of course, the Feud series starring Jessica Lange and Susan Sarandon brought it all back to life. Now, you might think that's the top of the food chain when it comes to feuds, but there's one that gives it a run for its money. Sarah Jessica Parker versus Kim Cattrall. Ah, Sex in the City. What could be more glamorous than 4 women sipping cosmopolitans and dishing out life lessons, right? Well, behind the scenes, the drama was, let's just say, unfiltered. The real-life tension between Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall was so bad, it practically became the 5th character of the show. Things came to a head when Cattrall publicly called out Parker after the news broke that the 3rd Sex and the City movie had been scrapped.
You never really got on.
We've never been friends. We've been colleagues. And in some ways, it's a very healthy place to be because then you have a clear line between your professional life and relationship and your personal. To get any kind of negative press.
Cattrall even accused Parker of exploiting her brother's tragic death to make herself look better. Ouch. This wasn't just an Instagram post here and there. Oh no. Cattrall went full nuclear, taking to social media and airing out their dirty laundry in the most public way possible. Parker, on the other hand, tried to keep the peace, mostly by keeping quiet. Talk about awkward. If you ever wondered what it's like to have a friendship go so sideways that it becomes the story, just look to these 2. But if you want some real drama, let's talk about Marlon Brando versus Frank Sinatra. Now, this is some old-school Hollywood beef, the old Hollywood. In 1954, Marlon Brando snagged the lead role in On the Waterfront, much to the dismay of none other than Frank Sinatra. Frank was not happy about it, and when the 2 men starred together in Guys and Dolls, things got icy. Brando, fresh off his Oscar win, was seen as the cool new guy, and Sinatra, well, let's just say he didn't take kindly to that. Brando liked to poke fun at Sinatra, and during filming, he'd deliberately blow his lines so Sinatra had to eat cake over and over again in a scene. Oh, and don't forget the incident where Sinatra thought Brando was getting too close to his ex-wife Ava Gardner, which allegedly led to an abduction attempt on Brando's life. Yes, you heard that right. Marlon Brando got kidnapped. And it's believed that Sinatra may have been behind it. Welcome to Hollywood, folks. Let's bring it back to the more recent past with Olivia de Havilland versus Joan Fontaine. These 2 Oscar-winning sisters had a rivalry so bitter, it's practically legendary. Olivia was always first to get married, first to win an Oscar, first to have kids. And for Joan, that wasn't easy to swallow. In fact, Olivia once turned her back on Joan at the Oscars when Joan tried to congratulate her. The bad blood between these 2 started in childhood and only festered as they both climbed the ranks of Hollywood royalty. Imagine being one of them and always feeling like you're living in the other's shadow. Yeah, that's tough. It got so bad that Olivia sued the producers of Feud for how they portrayed her in the series about the sisters' rivalry. Talk about taking sibling rivalry to a whole new level. And now, to the legendary feud between Richard Gere and Sylvester Stallone, a Hollywood rivalry that's almost too bizarre to be true. It all started back in the 70s on the set of The Lords of Flatbush. Picture it. Two rising stars, Gere, the brooding heartthrob, and Stallone, the tough guy who's always ready to fight. Turns out they didn't exactly hit it off. In fact, Gere got fired from the movie. Ouch, but things didn't end there. Oh no. Flash forward a few years to an Elton John party where the two meet up again, and guess what? Princess Diana was there, and she seemed to get along quite well with Gere. Naturally, this didn't sit well with Stallone, who apparently thought Gere was picking up the princess. Cue the drama. A fistfight broke out between the two at Elton John's party. I mean, really, could this get more ridiculous? And if that wasn't enough, there's the infamous gerbil rumor. According to Gere, Stallone was the one who started the whole bizarre rumor about him needing to visit the ER after a certain incident. Stallone denies it, of course, but let's face it, this feud was filled with just as much drama off-screen as in their movies. And now for a classic tale of Hollywood backstabbing, Raquel Welch versus MGM. Raquel Welch is one of the most iconic stars of the 60s and 70s, but her drama with MGM was a different level of messy. In 1981, Welch was fired from Cannery Row after just 1 week of filming, and she claimed the studio made her look like a diva to the press. What followed? A lawsuit against MGM for damaging her reputation, which led to a jury awarding her a whopping $10.8 million in damages. That's a lot of A-list revenge. Her legal victory didn't exactly save her career, though. No more blockbuster films, but at least she left Hollywood with a sizable payday. Speaking of fighting on set, who remembers Debra Winger versus Shirley MacLaine? These two legendary actresses starred together in the beloved Terms of Endearment, but off-screen? Oh boy. Their on-set clashes became as infamous as the film itself. Winger allegedly let one rip during filming, right in MacLaine's direction, and that's how Fartgate was born. MacLaine wrote about the incident in her memoir, and Winger herself even kinda confirmed it in an interview with Andy Cohen. But the tension didn't end there. MacLaine went on to win the Oscar for Terms of Endearment, and she made it very clear she felt she deserved it. Oh, and Winger didn't exactly appreciate the snub. That's a feud for the ages. On to Johnny Carson versus Joan Rivers, which was a classic case of friendship gone wrong. When Rivers was offered her own late-night talk show, her mentor, Johnny Carson, felt betrayed. He didn't talk to her again, and Rivers was banned from The Tonight Show for decades. That's like a mentorship gone super wrong. It wasn't until Jimmy Fallon took over the show that Rivers was able to make amends with the late-night institution. Talk about awkward. Let's switch gears to something a little more peculiar. Sean Young versus James Woods. Young and Woods starred together in The Boost, but things quickly escalated into one of Hollywood's strangest feuds. Woods sued Young for allegedly waging a reign of terror against him and his fiancée. Young's defense? She thought it was all too ridiculous to take seriously. But in the end, Young was awarded $227,000 after the lawsuit was settled, and her reputation, well, it wasn't quite the same after that. And finally, we have Delta Burke versus Designing Women. Burke's infamous feud with the show's creators was as dramatic as a season finale. After months of feuding with the Thomasons, the show's creators, Burke got fired from Designing Women in 1990. The conflict came to a head when she taped a Barbara Walters-style special in secret about her departure. Talk about a public exit. But don't worry, this story ends on a more positive note. Burke and the Thomasons eventually made amends, and she returned for one season of Women of the House. Well, there you have it. From Sex and the City to On the Waterfront, Hollywood has seen its fair share of epic, legendary, and sometimes just plain weird feuds. Whether it's squabbling on set, sabotaging careers, or just the occasional farting incident, these rivalries have all left their mark on Tinseltown. So the next time you watch your favorite stars on the big screen, just remember, the real drama might be happening behind the scenes. Thanks for joining me on this whirlwind tour of Hollywood's most iconic feuds. Until next time, Keep the popcorn ready and the drama alive.